Hey everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff. It has been a hot minute because like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, oh my gosh, it was 2 weeks ago, I went to Holy Havoc, which was a huge narrative event here in the Midwest. My buddy Jack from Rerolling Ones, he flew down. That made my absolute day, or weekend actually, and we had a great time catching up. From that though, it was really the first time I had been around a bunch of people really since lockdown. I mean, that magnitude of people. There was, well, I think 70 to 80 of us, depending on, you know, volunteers and that kind of stuff. Had an absolute blast, a wonderful time, but while I was there, I lost my voice. I could feel it, you know, after 2 days of like trying to project my voice across the table, and I did pick up a little bit of a bug, just a common cold. Like I said, I hadn't been around other people, so I was just exposed to a lot of germs. Everyone was as safe as they possibly could be, you know. It's just being around people. It just is. But anyway, because of that, I lost my voice, and so I wasn't able to record or talk about it. So this coming week, there's going to be quite a bit of that content, just talking about my awesome experiences and how Holy Havoc was probably one of the coolest events I've ever been to. And so you can hear I'm still kind of getting it back every once in a while. I got all phlegmy and gross. It was nasty. But in the meantime, I thought we could just kind of get back into the swing of painting and just doing some different hobby stuff. So I'm looking here and I see yay voice. Okay, I assume that means you can hear me, because YouTube sure as heck is acting weird by telling me it's not getting any data. So I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna trust Quaris here, and I'll pop the chat out so I can actually see it. And this is truly going to be just an old school hobby hang. So if you have anything in the world that you would like to chat about, you go ahead and throw it in that chat and we will do that thing. So what am I working on today? Let me move my light down here. And let me see if that camera just updated. There we go. I have with me today a box full of... The music's a bit loud, thank you. I forgot I had the music set when I was doing an interview with the Parabellum guys that I put up. You can hear that was right before I left for Holy Havoc, so like my voice was fine, but you could hear in the intro of that video I was like, hey guys, here's an interview I just did. It sounded real rough. These are all of my, well, not all of them, but a good portion of my Elder Scrolls Call to Arms miniatures. I'm so excited to dive into painting these. One of the things I'm going to do is try some new techniques. One of them was really suggested to me by Vince Ventrella of using... Let me grab it. This as a wash. So AK Interactive Streaking Grime. And basically you block in the colors of the model, hit it with a bunch of this stuff once it's dry, and then you basically wipe it away, and so whatever's left, it'll do the washes and the shading, and it does really cool things with colors. I did a few models already. Honestly, it looks weirdly good on white. Like it makes this cool, grimy, gritty white color. So I like it quite a bit. So we're going to try that out on these miniatures, which hopefully will look pretty good. So that is, let's see, let me turn my volume down just a smidge. There we go. So let's do what do we want to do first? Let's do the undead stuff first. The Draugr. I've actually been playing a metric ton of Skyrim lately, and I love that game. They just had a 10-year anniversary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Should be at least one more. Here he is. They had their anniversary edition drop. And it was quite cool, if I must say so myself. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is on my computer here, I'm going to pull up a picture. Skyrim Draugr. Perfect. Okay, so we got some browns, some metals, and lots of pale undead skin. Okay, we can work with that. So for the pale undead skin, okay. I'm gonna do, honestly, just skeleton horde on the bows and arrows, because I don't really care about how good their bows and arrows look. And also the skeleton boys are just going to die in a hot sec. Most of these things will. I mean, they're Draugr. Looking for a picture of a bow, because I can't quite recall. I think it's sort of like a somewhat black with a little bit of a tinge of blue in the vibe. It seems to be that's what it is. All right. Greetings, Bio. What's up, buddy? Thank you, Christopher and Quoras, for joining me. So, yeah, let's talk about some stuff. Let's see. Had a few things. We had our big announcement yesterday, right? Man, I lose track of time so easily. Yes, big announcement yesterday with our holiday bundle boxes. We can chat about that for a little bit. Let me just ask up front, any of them speak to you guys and gals? Holiday bundles, what do you think? I'm happy to go first. For me in particular, nothing really stood out to me. I will say, the only time Slaanesh has ever seemed interesting to me is on the mortal end of things. And that is a great collection of mortal units to start an army like that. But that's about it. That's all that really stood out to me. I know people are raving about that, what's it called? Soulblight Gravelords box. Let me see if I can adjust this, make that a little better. There we go. And that's been kind of cool to see. I mean, I'm glad people seem to be interested in the faction. It certainly doesn't speak to me. If nothing else, we have an abundance of local players. And so it's just like, I'm not joining up on an army that's already getting played to death around here. Plus, I've never been a horde army guy. I mean, I like the way they look, but I always get so tired of actually physically playing them because I get tired of all the little minutia and having to worry about Holy Within and all this kinds of stuff. I don't have time for that. They should have did a box for each alliance. Yeah, who are they missing? Because there's Daughters of Cain, so that would be no. Let me double check. For some reason I can't remember the fourth one. Herpty derp. Yeah, here they are. Okay, they weren't Daughters of Cain. There we go. So there's the Sybarite Blades. Yep. So there's Death, Chaos, Order. Okay, so they're missing Destruction. Yeah. I mean, honestly, man, they just need more Destruction factions. Just straight up. Because, I mean, what are they going to do? Just keep releasing the same frickin' Gloomspite Gits box 4 years in a row? I think last year, wasn't there an Ogre Maw Tribes one? That was fine. It's fair fine. But yeah, there's not a lot of different armies to tap into. And I know it's too close to their actual release to include like Cruel Boys and that kind of stuff, so I don't know. If they weren't cowards, they would have had just a box that was like 8 kits of the Savage Boys just to so you could make a Bone Splitter contingent. That would be the dumpiest army and I would buy it in a heartbeat. I've been trying to really learn the Bone Splitter rules because I am getting mine back from Jack at some point. And so I want to use them because the main reason is because we don't have a Destruction player locally. And so it's been on my mind of like, okay, what's a Destruction player army that is really fun and like super easy to beat? Because again, I'm doing a lot of demo games out here, kind of trying to build a community. And so I need something that's like doesn't have that I can control the fuel throttle to, if that makes sense. I can make it fun to play against. They can be tanky if they want to, that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Let's see. I play with Vampire Counts and Soulblight Gravelords, but I'm busy making 2 different types of armies, one based on the Legion of Blood, and the other based on the Legion of Night. That's awesome. How different are your lists and that kind of stuff? Like, I mean, I don't put much credence in like, oh, what's the list? What? Sorry, had a hiccup there. They're like, oh, what's the list? What's the list? You know, you'll get people who seem to really care about that. I'm not one of them, but I'm curious as to how different are they? Because I'm very, yeah, it's very interesting. Probably not Sons of Behemoth then. That's a newbie hammer army. Oh, is it? I've only heard of games. I haven't actually played any against them. And hello, Biofoot buddy. How are you? All right, let's start picking out some stuff. So now I'm basically going to leave the bulk of their skin alone and let the wash that we're going to be using take care of most of it, to be honest. Yeah, it looks like that'll be for him. I love Gorgrunta Fur is my favorite of all the contrast paints. It's this wonderful brown with just the slightest like dash of a reddish hue to it. Oh, it's so good. Been doing good. Hope all is well with you. Yeah, I've been doing good. Just trying to get over some winter sickness. Ooh. And my poor long-suffering wife, when I get sick, I become absolutely pathetic. Just super whiny. And she's so good to me. I think these guys are going to turn out pretty cool. I'm so excited to start getting into Call to Arms as a game system. It's got some really unique things in there. New. We can get his like pauldrons and stuff. Okay. Did someone here saw the Founders exclusive for Conquest? Okay, I'm gonna reword that. Has anyone here seen the different models for Conquest? Yeah. So if you don't know, Parabellum every once in a while will do these. Like they call them founders models, but basically it's just a chance for them and their designers to come up with a cool looking design that has to have, or that does not have to have, I should rather say, any practical purpose. Okay, which is a really fun idea. And so you will get models that you can use in game, but they don't necessarily fit on stands. So I think the one for the Dwagcom this year is like they're hefting up the rake or the warden of their keep, and they're like carrying him around. Oh, he looks so cool. So cool. But I would pull them up, but it would take a little bit too much attention away from what I'm working on at the moment. But yes, if you have not seen them, they are so nice. And I love that they take the opportunity to be like, let's just do some cool looking models with this setting that don't have to have a practical purpose. Now, of course, you know, if you don't, as long as you don't use the stand they come on, you can still use them. Like they're all on their own individual pegs. So you can, you know, put them into a regiment or something like that, but they also have that big stand showpiece where they all lock together in a certain way, which is cool. The one Black Knight kind of looks like a Blood Knight from Warhammer. Black Knight. I'm not sure I know what you're talking about, dude. Let's see. These guys are coming together. All these new games you're talking about recently gets me super excited for the lore games, but it makes me wanting the next chapter for AOS to see where the story goes real bad. Yeah, you know, honestly, a lot of me talking about other games has just because been a result of like Games Workshop's not doing a whole lot for AOS or 40K right now. I mean, there's a lot of like supplementary stuff, but like nothing that's pushing the story forward. And so, you know, I use that time. I'm trying to use it wisely to like branch out, explore other things, make sure I don't get burnt out. But I agree. I definitely want to see the story move forward. Let's see. Oh, from the Founders exclusive for the 100 Kingdoms. Right on. Holy Diver, yo, gonna be teaching my buddy who 3D prints some of my stuff how to paint today. Nice. Well, I hope you guys have a good time. Remember, there's no mistakes. I won't go Bob Ross style and say just happy accidents, but you know, everything's learning. I think it's fair to say there's no mistakes when they're learning. That's the point. That's the time to make them. Let's see. Absolutely understand. Your new Crealis video was super cool though. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't make much of formal addressments just because I didn't have a voice. But in case you'd missed it, I'm actually part of the team for Legacy of Atmos now. I'm one of the founders. It's going to relaunch and go up on a crowdfunding site. Probably the first quarter of next year is what we're looking at, and I'm having a great time. That was actually lore that me and the guys worked out, and it was absolutely wonderful. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I put up a lore video for a game called Legacy of Atmos. So we're trying to kind of flesh things out before we launch in completion, like, you know, totally and stuff like that. So there's resources that people can go see and all these kinds of cool things. Let's see. Biofoot, have you had a chance to catch the new Total War trailer with Nurgle and Slanesh? No, I have not. I have been pretty much in bed. Pretty much just in bed for quite a while. Not doing much of anything. But I will check that out because You know, I wish I liked playing those games more. They really don't appeal to me. Um, that being said, like I've said it before, there are a few things as cool as seeing, you know, Warhammer models in action. You know, like I always go to the Doom Wheel of just the Skaven Doom Wheel is the single coolest model in that entire freaking game. And I mean like the digital model as it like rolls around and crushes stuff up, like, and that's just something that isn't, it just can't quite be conveyed by a perfectly still model. And so I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm here for this. So seeing that same kind of effect on like Nurgle and all that kind of stuff, oh man, I'd love to see all of it. Really brings it to life. Because whether or not it's effective in the game, you know, if it's bringing to life the thing that you love, it's cool. Let's see. Doug, did you talk about which battle force he likes already? You know, I touched on the battle forces. I just said that none of them really appealed to me this year. Which is A-okay, because Lord knows I'm already buried in plastic. I don't know why. It's just, you know, I took a look at them, and, you know, I don't have an interest in any death armies, so that's 2 of the battle forces already on the Age of Sigmar side anyway. You know, Slaanesh has just never been an army I've been terribly interested in. And the Lumineth, I thought I was going to like them, and then the second I started building their actual models, I was like, you know what? Nah. Not for me. And that one I have no idea why. I don't know. I just, once I started, I think, so Jack was helping me build them. And he did, I think, 2 spearmen. I got through 1 or 2, and I just kind of sat and looked at them, and I was like, these are just not my jam. Let's see. Holy Diver, he's going to paint a white dragonborn, and I'll be working on a dwarf slayer, both for a D&D campaign. Sweet! Oh, your buddy who you're teaching to paint? That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, honestly, D&D stuff, that's a great way to get people into painting, just because, you know, there's some level of emotional attachment. I mean, you know, it's going to be representing you or somebody. Your videos have been a huge... Oh, wait. I missed one thing. Oh, Matt, buddy, thank you so much. It just came through when I click the chat out to its own window. Sometimes there's a delay, and it'll tell me, like, this was posted 5 minutes ago. Matt, thank you so much. You're throwing something in the tip jar, buddy. You got it. Hey, man, good to see you back. I'm painting too. May I bug you and the chat for an explanation of a Warcry rule? Yes, please. Please, go throw it in there, dude. As many of you know, if you... throw a tip in the tip jar, you get to control the conversation for a little bit and determine what we're talking about. So Matt Damage, I like that. Go ahead and throw your question in, buddy. Now let's see. I'm gonna do some Incubi Darkness because like the Draugr stuff, it always has like this like deep dark blue hue to it, like just a slight hue. And so I'm gonna do this for the bows, the arrow shafts. Yeah, that's probably about it, to be honest with you. Yeah, because I don't think these guys really have anything that I would give that same hue to. Okay. While we're waiting for Matt's question, Natatar, your videos have been a huge help for me getting me interested in AOS, and I'm caught between Lumineth Realmlords and Idenith Deepkin, and I was wondering which one you like better. Well, because people approach factions for different reasons, whether it's aesthetically or you want to do well competitively, all those kinds of things. I will be honest, the Deepkin are in a much better place than they were a while back. But many people have still felt that their roster and options are a bit limited, because there are some definite good and less effective models on the table. And you can spin that however you want. Depends on what you're interested in, and really, what you want out of the game. Do you want to win events? Are you comfortable with just like, I don't care how I do, I just like to play what I play. The Lumineth have lots of support right now. If you haven't committed to buying anything, they did just announce a pretty sexy holiday bundle for them. I would say, definitely in terms of gameplay, I would say go with Lumineth. And obviously, from what I understand, they can work together in some capacity. But yeah. So I don't have a whole lot to, raving positive things to say about the gameplay of Deepkin, but they are incredibly cool models. And I'm sure someone, I went to Holy Havoc and they had a guy who had a really sweet Leviathan. The Leviathan is a fantastic unit. It's just a hard nut to crack. It's one of those units that really just asks your opponent a very specific question. Can you handle a unit with this many wounds and a 2-up save? Initially, and then it'll go down, but for some people, it's just like, not really. Okay. Finished. So, Natatar, just to wrap up that discussion here. It depends on kind of what you want. So go ahead and let me know what parts of the hobby interest you. If it's a competitive thing, if it's just modeling, I can't tell you what models you think look cooler. That's all up to you, my dude. Just let me know. I'd be curious. I can probably help more if I have more specific information about, what you're looking to get the game out of the game. Sorry. Mark Andre, putting the finishing touches on 20 gut rippers over here. What am I painting? This is the first initial delve set from the Elder Scrolls Call to Arms. It is a miniatures game by Modiphius set in the Elder Scrolls universe. It's not necessarily Skyrim, although this specific set has a lot of strong Skyrim vibes, we'll call them. And Matt has asked his question. Give me just a second to get these little detail bits on this guy done, and then we'll answer that. Okay. Disciples of Tzeentch Arcanites triple. Until the end of the battle round, add the value of this ability to the value of other abilities to a maximum of 6, used by friendly fighters within 6 inches. So if my leader uses this ability on the 5 guys around him, and I can allocate however I want. However, my strength is triple. I get that. I can use them on different slots per guy. Yes. Sorry, you use the term slots, but yes. So the Disciples of Tzeentch Arcanite until the end of the battle round. Add the value of this ability to the value of other abilities. So no matter what ability they're using, you can add that value to it. Yeah, and Mordian 5/7, you nailed it, which is that it's generally not thought to be a good ability because you're already expending so much to get the triple that you would then need to have other dice to be able to do other abilities. Because remember, you know, just attacking or something like that is not an ability. My thought is that they assumed Tzeentch players were going to go hog wild on the ability stuff, but Warcry as a game doesn't lend itself to that because you are restricted by, you know, what dice could possibly theoretically be inside your hero phase command pool at any given time. But yes, if you have multiple dudes all doing different abilities, it will affect all of them. And why not? Okay. Oh, I was just using it wrong. Just playing with myself. Say I rolled a 444. I would add 4 strength to one guy, 4 toughness to another. I didn't think about abilities the right way. Oh, yeah. It would say characteristic if that's what it was talking about. I could totally get that. Totally. It's easy mistake to make, for sure. We got Zosies. What's up? How's it going? How's the Death Army going? I think you were doing Nagash last I talked to you. No, Natatar, your answer was great. Oh, cool. Yeah. Check out the holiday bundles. They're really cool. John Walker, hey buddy. Oh, it's all pack still. That would make that ability really strong. Yeah, I would be not opposed to that ability the way you've interpreted it. Honestly, honestly, because like the Tzeentch stuff is just not like it's not tanky at all. It would at least give them a way to swing above their weight class pretty consistently. Unless your triples are ones or something like that. Like, but it would offset some of the weaker aspects of playing as them. Which probably wouldn't be bad. Although honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen anyone playing Tzeentch in the wilds of Warcry. Honestly, I haven't seen a lot of Warcry getting played, period, but that'd just be what it be. I'm sure it'll get kill teamified at some point. Let's see. Decided to redo Nagashi's Ghost Cloak, and then we attempted to move. Second time, lucky next week. So I hope you have to play again. Okay, right on. Dude, moving is the worst. It is just the worst. We got into our current place, which, you know, is very nice, and they were very accommodating to work with us, because we moved during pandemic and all these lockdowns, and it was a cross-country thing, and they were super chill about, like, letting us just, like, drop one of those pod mover trucks just straight up, just, like, right in the middle of their entire parking lot. They were real nice and patient. But this place is, like, super old, and I like to think that the last tenants just didn't call maintenance enough, because there's like a lot of maintenance issues wrong with the place. And so, you know, every time we've called something in, they've gotten on it really quickly, but it's just an old place, and so it's constant like, this is annoying. How annoying is it? Is it annoying enough to move? You know, constant reassessing of like, how angry am I at this? And every once in a while, it's gonna be like, I'm pretty angry about it. Our floor creaks so bad, you think we're gonna fall through. That's not something a maintenance guy getting paid, you know, $11 an hour can fix. Poor guy. UK moving is nothing like US moving. We're going 15 minutes down the road. Yeah, we moved. Our move from Seattle here was, I'm going to use the word harrowing. We went through some etch-a-sketch parts of America, and it was a journey. More emotional and spiritual in nature than we had thought. You get into the road trip and you're like, yeah, this is a road trip, and then it's just like, oh no, this is soul crushing. Let's see. Lost in the chat here. Le Juice Card, I love the name. Hey, D+, your video gave me and my son something fun for a long time. Drives, appreciate it. Oh, thank you. Well, that's awesome. I hope you guys are having a great time. Shout out to Le Juice Cart and Le Juice Cart Jr. What would that be? Le Juice Tray? I don't know. I'm trying to think. What's the smaller version of a cart? And for these guys, you know, this, like I said before, I'm doing the call to arms stuff. I'm very excited to play this, just because I'm just a Skyrim nerd, you know, at the end of the day. I guess it's not really true. It's not really about Skyrim, it's about the Elder Scrolls. I'm actually a Morrowind nerd. That's the one where I just got finished watching a 8-hour retrospective on it and why it's like the greatest game ever. I was like, you know what? Wish it had gone for 10 hours. Although that same guy put up a 12-hour retrospective on Oblivion, which was in the middle of right now, and it's quite entertaining. Let's see. Remind us to take you across country in the UK whenever you're here. That's an afternoon sorted. Yes. Oh, man. I think about that sometimes. I mean, it was brought up in the a documentary I was watching. It was like a nature documentary, and they were just talking about, you know, American environments versus European and that kind of stuff. There's like, it's just some people in the UK just do not appreciate the sheer vastness of the US. And then I hadn't really thought about that, but then when they showed a map of the two countries like next to each other, you're like, huh, yeah, we got a lot going on. Let's see. Agros Dunes. Here we go. Oh, hey, Cody. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Doug, Mr. Buddy, life's been nuts. Not time for anything. I totally understand. You are in good company. I just am back in the world of the living and loving every minute of it. I mentioned it before. When I get sick, I become absolutely insufferable. Like, whiny. I'm not sure what I want to do or eat or go. I'm just kind of complaining all the time. Oh yeah, any tips raised from this video are going to go to the you know, earn brownie points with Jess Foundation. Because she had to tolerate me for a couple days. Let's see. Hello, Elder Scrolls series is amazing. Breaks my heart they're splitting the community with Xbox PC only. Oh, I haven't heard that. What's going on? What's with the PC and the whole Xbox thing? So they're not going to port it at all to whatever PlayStation's for future development or whatever? My thing is, I just, you know, the PC games I play are really, they're all short. Like, I mean, in terms of time investment to play a game. So, for example, like my favorite game to play on PC is Star Wars Battlefront 2, the most recent one that came out. Just because, you know, the matches are over in like 10-15 minutes. I am not someone who can sit at the computer for hours and hours and hours, but I could sit on the couch, you know, in front of the television there, like on my PlayStation for hours and hours and hours. That's where I play Skyrim most of the time. Let's see. Spezia Poet, thank you so much. Congrats, Doug, on Atmos. If you need a writer, winky wink. Yes, my friend. I've seen your talents on display. I have heard of your greatness. Let us get some, for those of you who are curious about the Legacy of Atmos thing, I took the position of game developer for Legacy of Atmos. It's totally unpaid because the game has not fully launched yet. So it's not like I have a job on top of this, but doing a lot of lore and community development, and I'm really excited about it. But I'll have more details coming this week. Like I said, I was going to make a big, you know, to-do announcement video, and then I lost my voice, and I was like, oh, sad panda. Okay. Microsoft bought Bethesda. We'll see if it's happening, but it's looking like... Oh, okay, so it hasn't been confirmed yet, but yeah, I forgot that they had bought Bethesda. Are you using dunes for flesh? I've only ever used dunes for skaven nails and teeth. No, there's different kinds of fur. Like, I didn't do it in the skin, but there's a main dark fur on the outside that is their clothing, and then there's like a little, I don't know, loincloth or something, which I'm sure has to chafe like mad down below it. So that's what that is. And bows, I'm just trying to add a little bit of black and blue because that's kind of the hues that we get with ancient Nord weapons in Skyrim. I'm really excited. So I did that video talking about the Elder Scrolls Adventures game. Recently, I had a great time. Like I originally reached out to Modiphius to ask if they had any content or anything like that they wanted me to cover for Call to Arms. You know, I'd just be like, hey, I'm an independent thing. Do you guys have any content you guys need made? Like a, you know, new player's guide or something like that that I can help with? You know, they had a great talk, and at the end of it, they were like, hey, do you wanna do a dev and hang out and play this new game? And I was like, yeah. Anyway, so I'm excited to get my copy because they have a Khajiit model in there, and Khajiit are my jam in Elder Scrolls. They're just the coolest. And the only rebuttal I'll hear is if people like Argonians. All the other races are boring, but Argonians and Khajiit, I could never just... I guess I've just never seen like an Argonian character that I liked. You know what I mean? Like, where there's a bunch of different Khajiit forms and even some like Nords and that kind of stuff where you're like, that guy looks awesome in the game, you know, because it's just based on how it's procedurally generated. But I've just never saw an Argonian one that I was like, you know what, man. Let's see. Mondetior. Hey Doug, good to see you stream again. Yes, thank you. I have been anxious to get back into it for some time. Actually, I have one little thing here I want to get on this guy. And I am putting in, admittedly, very little effort on all these guys because honestly, they all die like the turn they come up. I mean, like combat in Elder Scrolls in Call to Arms is what I'm trying to say, is brutal. Like if you're playing against the AI and like AI is these undead dudes, they die because you look at them. It's only when you get to the bosses that you have a real challenge on your hands. The minute, yeah, kind of actually, it's funny now that I think about it. When I was playing the adventure game with the Modiphius guys, it occurred to me that any creature that you can attack first, you know, if you sneak up on them or something like that, super easy to kill. But the minute that they can swing back, like they have enough health or life to be able to tank that wound and then hit you back, that's when it becomes a game. There are 2 Khajiit miniatures in the Call to Arms Adventure Allies box. That's right. I forget. You know, they don't broadcast their releases the same way that other companies do. That's right. I gotta go get that. For as much as I love my cat people. All right. And over here on the side, we have a pair of Dragonborns. I got the ethereal one, so I'm just going to paint his base. It's already primed. And then the model one that comes with these guys. So the ethereal one is male, model one is female. but it looks like they have the same, pretty much everything else in terms of their armor, weapons. The shields are, I believe, identical. They look at, yeah, they are. Sweet. Let's see, they'll probably just release a new Microsoft phone and release Skyrim on the phone again. Exactly. Oh, I love it. That would be incredible. It's confirmed, but Elder Scrolls is for the people, in my opinion, so we'll see the outrage. No, I'm pretty sure at that point, I forgot that they had bought the rights to it. I didn't even consider that. I have little to no hope. So, these guys need a second to dry. I guess these guys don't, they weren't painted, but the Draugr do before I put on my wash that I want to try out. So I thought that I would show you guys what I've been working on whilst I have been sick and unable to actually talk about it. So this is the Tellus Crusade box that is available. Well, it was available for a time from Legacy of Atmos. Then they took it down, brought me on board. We're going to relaunch Q1 of this coming year. But I painted a whole bunch of these guys. I think look pretty fire. This is Crazy Pixie Steampunk Girl with a huge mallet, because if your game doesn't have one, why are you wasting your time and money? She's really cool. I dig her quite a bit. Also have a whole bunch of human elements. These cool little steampunk dudes. Yeah, I guess I can throw probably some better pictures up. But yeah, just been painting a whole bunch of stuff. Here's their version of Beastmen, which the models for, I wish the details were a little more crisp. I think that was my printing error though, not the model, because like some parts of it are and some aren't. So that just tells me that the printer wasn't working quite right. Yeah, this lovely lady who would be a great Sylvaneth model. But anyway, if you own a 3D printer, we actually do have the STLs available for sale if you're interested. Let me know in the comments if you are. But they're cool. I like them quite a bit. I love steampunk stuff. Painting this big guy was awesome. The Giramus. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I've been working on. In addition, let's see. I'm going to pull up that Khajiit box. Let's see. Modifius. I'm going to do some dedicated streams painting these guys up too at some point. Board games, war games, call to arms. No, that's not. That's the wrong one. Imperial Vanguard, Dark Brotherhood. Oh yeah, I have the Dark Brotherhood stuff too, but they are in resin. Is this? No, that's Elder Scrolls Online. Give me 1 second. Apologize. Stormcloak Chieftains, Imperial Officers, Adventurer Allies. How is that different from Adventurer Followers? It is. Oh snap, yeah, they weren't kidding. Yeah, here we go. So there's my Khajiit guy that I want to play as on the far left. I also got Human Archer, Orc with a giant axe, second Khajiit over here, and then what I'm pretty sure is just Lydia. Okay, this is the second one. Okay, we got an Argonian, Nord, the Dark Elf is awesome, and that guy looks like he's, I don't know, dropping in Olgu Hish, whatever the Olg Hish model, whatever it is, the endless spell. Interesting. That's cool stuff. Yeah, I'll check it out. Okay, let's get these out of the way. Come back here. I'm just doing a once over to make sure everything is dry on this guy, which it is. How about you? Same. Okay, so one of the first times I've tried this, I did a quick one, and it was a recommendation of one Vincent Ventrella. So we'll see, and if things go wrong, we will just blame him endlessly and be like, man, you shouldn't, you know, just gotta lay it on it thick of just ruined my models. You're the reason my life's falling apart. Just pin it all, you know, just really just pin it all. So what this is a streaking grime crud from AK Interactive, which is not a miniatures company that I super love, mainly because they have a terrible PR department, if I may say so. But it is this cool stuff where basically I'm just going to let this sit here for about 15 minutes and I set an alarm. And then once that's done, you basically just push downward with like a cloth, or I have some sponges over here, and you just pull it away until it fills in the recesses of the model. And it makes a pretty cool, like, grim darky kind of a look. And yes, I am putting on the correct amount. I know it looks like I'm submerging it, but I promise a bunch of it will wipe away and it'll look baller. This is the every model has that like phase when you're painting it of like, this is the hot garbage phase where it just looks like trash before it's done. Kind of like when you clean your room, you got to like destroy things to get it all clean at the end. But you'll see, notice I did not put any color whatsoever on the skin. And I did a test model to see how that would look with this stuff. I actually did it on a Warcry miniature. I can't remember the name of the warband. The ones who are all about pain. I don't know why I've never been able to get their names down. But yeah, I did on that one and it looked pretty freaking cool. Vince Ventrella, you're welcome. I often make the joke to my wife, I don't learn lessons. Just whenever she's like, haven't you like figured out that like, you know, I can teach you how to do stuff? Honey, I don't learn lessons. That's exactly the truth of it. I'm still learning. That's okay. We'll see. The what was the name? That warband, the one that they have the big tall creepy avatar person and they're all about pain and like they have they rip their faces off and put it on their belts. That one was a terrible army to try this thing on. And Vince, if you give people this recommendation in the future, probably steer them away from that, because those dudes are like pure spikes. And when I was trying to get in there with like a t-shirt or whatever to like rub the wash off, I was just having the heck of a time, and I was like, I did this to myself by choosing these models. I don't know what I was thinking. I make bad decisions. So yeah, so we'll just do this. Burp. We're gonna set a timer for roughly 15 or so. Unmade. Thank you so much, Morty, and I can't ever remember that. Sweet. Yeah, the tiny makeup Q-tips that are sponges are what you need there. Yeah, I thought I ordered those. Where is it at? But what came in the mail, they were much bigger than they appeared to be online. So this is almost like the heft of a model. And yeah, the tiny ones like you had that I saw have the rounded tip for cleaning off nail bits. This is like, I don't know, COVID test level, like up the nose kind of a thing. Hey, Mr. Molly Malau, what's up? Oh, I lost track of the chat here. Gregory Jordan, hey man, just wanted to stop in and say thank you for all the AOS lore videos. They've been great bedtime stories for me lately. Oh, that's so good. I actually was thinking, y'all let me know how you feel about this. I was going to do at least one ASMR story, like where the point is that I speak very softly, and not like the creepy whispering thing, but just a soft, chill kind of like droning tone, and talk about AOS lore stuff. If you'd like to see that and or fall asleep to it, let me know. One of the first compliments I got when I went to Nova was this guy just walks up to me and goes, "My girlfriend listens to you every night." And it's like, but he said it in such a deadpan way. I'm like, are you calling me out? Or are we cool? Or like, what? Ended up being really cool. It was just very, very funny. Let's see. What am I going to work on now while that's drying? What are we going to do? Let's do... Let's do this guy. This is High Lord Godre. We're just going to paint him until we can go back to these guys. But I like him quite a bit. This is the main human character from Legacy of Atmos. Has a sweet steam-powered shield. Basically, you can like use it to push back enemies and stuff like that. I'm a sucker for anything like that. That's cool. Let's throw some Runelord Brass on there. Hey, good morning, Green Blood Crusade. Matt Damage. Another Warcry question, if I may. If I want to run pink horrors and plan to split them, I have to allocate both the pink and blue horror warband point values up to 1k. You know, Matt, let me get my book for you here. 1 second. Dang it, I have my book all packed up. So yeah, I can help you with like general rules, but like that's a very faction specific thing. Does anyone else know the answer to that question? We can help out Matt Damage here in the chat. If you want to run pink horrors and you plan to split them, do you have to allocate the point values up top in your list? That's one it's so specific to that unit. I don't know. So let's, we'll get this. I don't think you would need to, right? Because wouldn't be, typically, I think in Warcry, they keep it fairly simple with like, that would be wrapped up in their profile, the pink horror's point costs. But then again, there's no other mechanic quite like that in the game, so... Let's see. Okay, just paint this all up, laying some ground colors. You ever pick up a model that you've started to paint before, but you don't remember painting it before? You know, it's as if like a gremlin snuck into your house and started a model, and you were like, oh yeah, must have started that at some point. I wonder why I stopped halfway through. That is how I am right now with this guy, where it's like, I know when I got this model, and I remember painting everything else in the box, but I don't remember like putting the silver on this guy because it doesn't look great. It looks, I don't know, not chalky. That's not the right word, but here, yeah, we'll make all the clock stuff nice and nice rich brass. We'll go back in there with hushut copper. Let's see. I mean, you have a cat. Maybe the cat would have painted the last one. Yes, that'd be amazing. Let's see. Hello from Sweden. Just came home from a Warhammer Fantasy Battles tournament. Nice. How was the event? I would love to hear about that. I didn't do anything that cool. I just been sneezing. Yeah, fantasy battle events are what got me into the hobby, and loved it ever since. If you guys haven't heard, basically I used to play War Machine and Hordes just because it was the first miniatures game that I ever interacted with, and I was having a great time. And then I moved to the Seattle area and immediately stopped having a good time. There were some nice people for sure, but you know, it was a very, very hyper competitive area. And my assumption was because Privateer Press is right there and people wanted to be, you know, ranked top at all their events and all those, you know, it just really spoke to the competitive crowd, which is cool. But for folks like me who are just like, you know, if you haven't actually read their stuff, like the world that was created for War Machine Hordes is actually really cool and really interesting. But nobody gave a crap about that. They just wanted to punk each other and club baby seals and stuff like that. So it was a real rough one for me. It was our local clubs, just 10 players, but it was great fun. See, that's perfect though. For me, I don't care for large events. Like, I had fun at Holy Havoc, but I wouldn't want to go to anything bigger than that, for sure. I mean, I love little one-day things where it's people you know, maybe stuff that you've seen before. You know, that's my kind of thing. I'm going to throw what I'm going to go ahead and start calling Doug's Special Sauce, which is just a mix of black sepia and brown, thinned down to oblivion. I'm gonna skip this song because I don't know what in the ever-loving hell is going on. It sounds like Carol of the Bells, but dumber. What if we all just played at the highest note all the time? That way everyone would be deaf and nobody would have a bad thing to say about us because they literally couldn't hear it. Okay. Cool, made it to my favorite Conquest lore master actually live. Well, thank you, buddy. I got a question for you since you brought up Conquest. I assume your name is Matt. What video would you like to see next? If you are interested in Conquest at all, you let me know because I covered all the factions, but I'm not sure what I want to do next. Also, Parabellum was kind enough to send me one of their giant T-Rexes. If you have not seen this model, it is like sex drenched in gasoline and then lit on fire. That's how hot it is. Yeah, and I'm gonna build up. Like I said, the first layer is silver. When I said I didn't remember doing it, it's just a very weak. Like, it doesn't even look like lead belch or anything like that I would use. So I'm gonna go back once the wash is dry and build it up in the major plate areas. But real weird. That's all right. We can start doing the cape. For that we use, let's see. I got into Conquest, Kingdom of the Machine Fish joining the 100. Nice, I love it. I can't wait to get an Apex and ordering an Icy Otnar and the Spire's Founder exclusive. Nice. I'd love to see an explanation of the Living World storyline. Interesting. Well, that's an interesting way to describe a dinosaur. Oh, yes. I mean, you know, when there's like a badass ogre lady on top riding, just like screaming to the heavens. Yeah, dude. Looks like something out of heavy metal from the 80s. Can't even look at that model without hearing the guitar riff in your head. Just, oh, what's that model? Love to learn more about the lore behind the characters involved in the Living World stuff. Okay. Yeah, Living World coverage seems to be the request. Okay, I can do that. I got to do some reading to get caught up myself, because, you know, the Living World is one of those things that, like, I like to pop in. If you don't know, Parabellum, the way that they handle lore is they essentially have a Google Earth type thing that's over the world that they've created for their game. And what we would call the points of interest on a normal Google map are actually like characters, so you can see geographically where they are in relation to one another and how they move, and therefore their forces would move with them. And then if you click into those characters, you get a little bit of lore about them. And then at the bottom, if you are signed up on the site, you get to make a choice as to what they do. So like it'll present, like, you know, Lord Tough of 2 Plussington is this person, and he's confronted with this situation. Does he, you know, run away, stand and fight because he has a re-rolling 1 save on a 2-up, or does he just die? And so, like, every week people get to choose what happens. And so that becomes quite a bit of fun, because then you can look back and see what previous choices were, and by the end of it, you have this whole series of decisions that were made by the community at large, and it's pretty cool. How much time we got left? Oh, we only got a minute on these guys. Perfect. So let's put that out of the way, and I'm going to stop my clock because it's close enough. So these guys look like absolute crap stains, and we're going to just literally brush away. And we are going in a downward direction because that's the way we want it to streak. And I'm just saying this out loud so that Vince doesn't have to type it in the comments to remind me. I'm going to apply a little more pressure up top here. Here we go. I'm going to be able to see his face just a smidge more. But in the end, it makes them look pretty baller. All right, we got that guy. Let's grab our next one. I like how nothing about players, though. Oh, I know, like, nothing about the actual... Yeah. I can work on that. You mean about the actual like characters and stuff like that? I know for one of them, they actually like. Is it This Living World? I don't know. The map changes every once in a while, and they're doing like historical things, like you're watching events unfold that have already come to pass type deals. I don't know if that's still what's happening or what. Oh, I snapped him off his base. That's okay. It's because I use crappy glue. That's okay. He is done though. Grab a skeleton, which is an inside joke that if you get it, shout it out in the comments. Actually, this might be a good use for aforementioned Mega Wad. He's got this nice straight edge here that works. If you have white spirits, you can clean them up a little more with tiny amount. Yes, I do have those. I'm just doing a first pass right now to kind of get a sense of how bright I want them to be. But yes, that has been on my mind. I actually do like the skeletons being a bit grosser. I got super excited in your interview with Leo. He said the new faction is going to drop with lots of models at the start. Yeah! I'm just going to poke up in here. Having a little bit of trouble reaching, there we go, his pelvis area. So I just put the shirt in there and then stabbed it down and struck down with the bottom of the paintbrush. Worked out. Now here's a question for you, Vince. Do I need to seal these before I can do any kind of paint on top? Like, can I just poke a highlight on there, or actually I like this more than the amount of pressure I can apply with my thumb. This feels weirdly more controlled just for this specific part. Nope. Okay, so I assume I can just hop right to it. Nice. Because like I was kind of experimenting. It's one of those things, like I tried, like on my little Warcry test model that I did last night. Yeah, I will go over it with just a little bit. Let me get this guy back on his base. So he's ready for round 2. Okay. It will dry completely in about 30 minutes. Oh, sweet. Looks great, nice aged look. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. You know, it's easy for the Draugr just because they don't have a lot of rich colors. Like, I mean, they're a pretty dark, you know, I mean, they have like hints and stuff like that of blue and some others, but on the whole, they are not bright. Colorful is what I'm trying to say. Playing with oil washes, my first. So is this considered an oil wash? Because I must have been looking up the wrong thing then. But yeah, it's the AK Interactive streaking grime. Doug, what's the model size for Legacy of Atmos? Actually, if you give me just a second to finish with this, I can show you. I actually have a whole bunch of size comparison shots. But they, you know, let's see. Average person, I mean, honestly, they're pretty close to GW. But I'll show you here in a sec. I think you're gonna get a shirt. Sometimes you just gotta outsmart the model when it comes to how to get into some of these places. Or, I mean, you could do sub-assemblies if you're a coward. That was my favorite thing. So, Holy Havoc moment that I appreciated the most was Steve walking around calling people cowards. Steve, the guy being who was officiating the event. Because he put a whole bunch of like crazy extra rules and stuff. Let me just see if I can... Perfect. There's just a little spot back there that could not clear out. Okay, give me just 1 second here. I'll work on getting you that size comparison. Give me just a moment while this is all chilling. Size. Is this it? Just a moment. You're now married to the last mini you painted. Who am I married to? I am going to say a restless Draugr. Man. Team shipping table content. Oh man, I don't know why I can't seem to find this. Doug, come back to the crypt. Oh man. You know, I might have to just show the picture of the models later, just because I can't seem to find it here. Like, man, I know that I had it on my Discord. Oh, here we go. Okay, open the original. Okay. Aha. So it's this big mega image with a bunch of comparison shots. So in case you're just turning in and you're wondering why I was just away from the computer for forever. Yeah, so Legacy of Atmos, this is the miniatures game that I joined up to have a lot of fun making and creating all kinds of fun stuff. So, yeah, so here we have, let's see. So this would be one of our models on the far left and the far right. And that is obviously a Rubric Marine from 40K. And we have the Gyaramus and the War Suit compared to a Centurion. And there's those same things compared to some other miniatures, but most recognizable would be the Tau Commander thing. Actually, I don't know if that's the Commander. I don't think it is. I think it's the Crisis Suits. So, yeah. We got some more information on scale. But, yeah. So, hopefully that answers your question. If you have anything specific, you just let me know. Let's see. Have you seen that battle game for kids where you mold monsters in battle? When you kill their monster, you smush it? I love it! Yes, I have seen the ad for that. It is quite fun looking. Okay, now, last time I did this, I basically just got like literally one drop of this stuff, put it on there. So there's my grimy side, and because I want these guys specifically to still look real dark, I'm just going to take that one side and just kind of give a little glaze. There we go, perfect. For him, I'm just going to mostly focus on the skin. Perfect. Like I said, you know, Vince, I watched your video about you painting the... Was it the Iron Jaws, like in a day or a week or something like that? It was a week because you had back problems. But, yeah, where you... Basically, if you haven't seen this, Vince paints Iron Jaws, but like with a yellow. And then he does this exact thing where he just coats them in that brown crap. And when you start seeing the colors start to come through after he takes like a shirt or a piece of fabric and rubs it off, it looks awesome. And then when he puts his little drop of... Oh, dang it. I forgot I was trying to balance him. Mineral spirits, it just makes the color just explode and it looks awesome. Okay, we'll leave that guy alone, but he looks pretty good. I gotta say, at least for the skin tones in particular, these guys look pretty much exactly like you'd expect. Like, I mean, in terms of it looks exactly like the video game. Gross skin and stuff. Let's see. Anyone in New Mexico watching? Nah, sorry, dude. Iowa. Christopher, are you still playing Stormcast Eternals? I am. I had a wonderful time playing my Stormcast. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how to do them well, like how to play them well. I want to do Knights Excelsior, which lends itself to some great Paladin units, as well as obviously then being Scions of the Storm. But as far as like how I actually want to build a really good army, man, I don't know. But yeah, so I am still playing them. I'm still excited to play them. I have no intentions of getting rid of them. You know, but then again, I never do. It's who I am. Would you love me if I was any different? So that's going on. I'm considering letting go of my Slaves to Darkness. And the reason I say that is the way that coalitions and stuff work anymore. I don't know. They don't feel like their own army. I think I don't know. I don't want to say it feels like they're being phased out, because being phased out has its own implications as far as like, you know, what models are going to be available for sale or whatever like that. So that's not really what I mean, but I feel like they aren't the same toolbox house that they were when I fell in love with them. And so I'm like, there's other projects I'd be much more interested in. The new Maggotkin stuff looks real cool with their nice new sorcerer that they previewed. Tzeentch stuff has always looked really cool. That's a strong consideration, selling Slaves to Darkness stuff for Tzeentch stuff, just because that's definitely a faction that Jack and I have wanted to do since we left Holy Havoc. We were once we got to day 2 of Holy Havoc, we were already making lists for the following year, because it's just such a unique event that there, you know, without having experienced it, there's no way to prepare for it. Like, you can't just read the packet and understand the event, because the tables are so much of a consideration. And so, you know, day 2, once we realized like, oh, we picked the derpiest armies ever, we were already planning some stuff. Yeah. The sub-assemblies are for cowards. Yeah. Let's see. The most important question, is there a death faction, and can I paint them? There is not yet, but I am pushing strongly for that to be the next evolution, because I have a few ideas for a death faction that I think would be pretty baller. A death faction that Doug would actually be interested in. That would be a marvel. And that's actually not fair, because like, I'm really interested in Flesh Eater Courts. I just don't have an interest in painting the models. How about that? The actual model line of like playing on the tabletop, that just doesn't interest me. But like, their lore is still it's up there with my favorites. Plus, any single time that the Flesh Eater Courts are involved in the story, you just can't help but be like, man, these guys are freaking nuts. I love it. Is there a chance you could split off an AOS channel and put all AOS content over there? Not really. Just, I know you're probably, not everyone is interested in hearing about different games, but the truth is that would dramatically affect my income in a way that I just don't see a reason. I couldn't justify it. Jacob is sat next to me, but not paying attention to the text of the chat. Just turned off and went, "Is that you?" Tournament rule: switch player armies. I've heard of something like that that I love quite a bit. So I know that the guys over at Cubic Shenanigans, the podcast, are doing it. Speaking of which, if you are listening to this, I guest starred on Cubic Shenanigans during one of the few days where my voice worked a little bit. So go check them out. Their latest episode, me and Brennan talk all about Holy Havoc in more detail. It was a great time. But he was talking about doing an event like that where it's basically like a small local thing for their friends to send off a buddy who's moving away. And so, yeah, they're doing an event where everybody, you build a 1,000 point army, and then every round there's basically basically there's like I don't know if it's a pool or a raffle or a lottery or whatever, but you never know what army you're going to be playing as. So you build an army, you create a cheat sheet, so to speak, for it, of just how it functions, what these things do, as well as all the necessary information. And then every round you're playing something different, which I was like, oh man, that is a gauntlet. I love it. Sweet. Okay, I just need these things to dry. I've started doing like once I have the model done, I put black on the base just like this. You know, the rims aren't painted or anything like that. And the reason is, for me in my eyesight, it helps visually distinguish the model from the base, because as you can see, there were streaks and grimes and that kind of stuff, and it kind of messes with my ability to be like, yeah, that's enough of this color, or yes, it needs a highlight here. And so it just kind of frames it, I think, is probably the best way to say it. So we're going to wait for those to dry to see how they look. But honestly, I'm pretty happy with them. I'm not going to lie. That Incubi Darkness with that grime crap on top of it, very nice. Okay, now we have our Gaudre model. And he is looking good. Let's start building up that silver. And he's like a pretty poster boy, so we're going to make him super silver. I don't mind either way. I just want to support you getting big and gigantic. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, that has, the decision for that has much more to do with the YouTube game than it does with like personal preference. Actually, let's do this. Oh, that's a gross looking thing, a lead belcher. Okay. Are you base coating right now? I'm kind of doing two projects at once. So for the call to arms stuff, no, I'm just finishing up those guys actually. But when it comes to this guy, Gaudre, I put a base coat on already. Ooh, well, that brush is gone but not forgotten. Salute, he had a good life. Now he's just gonna be down there, dying, wallowing. As we all will someday. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I have a very dark sense of humor. So this guy, I don't remember, we were just talking about this before, of like, I don't remember putting the base coat of silver on this guy, but apparently I did at some point. I don't know if some like painting gnome came in and just did a really shoddy job or what, but he's basically got his like mech suit, and there was like a layer of silver on, but it didn't quite look like lead belcher, which is the only silver I paint with, so I don't know. We are all brush, exactly. Dug to the brush, you will not be... Exactly, yep. What does Immortan Joe scream at the guy when he dies in the beginning of Mad Max? Of just like, it wasn't disappointing, but it was something like that. Oh, that's gonna bug me. Love you, Doug. Not literally. Your voice has a fatherly tone. Great to listen to when painting. Hashtag man crush. Mediocre! That's what it was. Thank you, Spezia. Yes, in the beginning. George, thank you so much. That's very kind of you to say. I try. I try. Not the first person to say I have a fatherly tone. Most people, when they first find the channel, I get asked a lot like, oh, do you have kids? Do you read them bedtime stories? No. No, I just, play crappy app games at night instead of reading to a small child who adores me. Or catch evil glances from my cat. Okay, just adding a little bit more life to this sword down here. Every once in a while, Jess and I have the discussion about kids, and it's just ever since COVID came down, it's just like, man, what a great time to not have kids. If you're a parent, hang in there, my dudes, or dudettes, because I cannot imagine. I won't talk too much about anything like that, but just when it comes to like schools and trying to be responsible, it's just, we have friends who work in education. But are at the same point of life that we are, and it's just the horror stories of parents and fighting over school stuff, and none of it has anything to do with the kids being well taken care of and respected and safe. And it's just ugh. Okay, that looks much better. Yeah, I don't know what happened before. Maybe I base coated them, but with like a lead belcher that was like on its way out, and it just didn't have the same color or pop, and it just was not working for me. I get evil glances from Small Skaven. I wake her up. That's right. Yes, you are. Well, I was going to say the rat girl, but that sounds rude, even though I know what you're talking about. You have pet rats. But, it doesn't work the same if you're like, I'm a cat person, I'm a dog person. If you say you're a rat person, it's just like, I don't know if I'm insulting you. How much do you have to pay for a dog wakes you up? Okay, here we go. Ready? Good morning. Hish has risen above the equator. Equator? No. Horizon. There we go. Let's restart. Good morning. Today's full of possibilities. Maybe, in a moment, a giant gargan will walk through your home, or perhaps a giant undead army will erupt from the ground beneath you. Greet today with a sense of curiosity, for it might be your last. There we go. There's your Doug wake-up call. Clipped. Nailed it. Oh, this isn't the color I wanted. Here we go. I love it. Now I want to see a Doug nature documentary through Gur. I did something like that and nobody liked it. If you go, okay, here's a deep teaser for you. If you go into the Beasts of Chaos playlist, there is a video that I tried to do a Planet Earth style thing and nobody freaking laughed at it. Okay, so it is so in the US back in, I don't know what, the 70s or something like that, Mutual of Omaha had a whole series of like National Geographic, Mutual of Omaha presents, and then it's like a nature thing. And I did that for all of the monster creatures in the Beasts of Chaos book that only had like 4 sentences of lore. And it was like the least watched video of the series. I'm like, oh man, that was soul crushing. I was so You know, like when you think a joke is really funny and it's really gonna land, and then everyone is just like, huh, cool, and then walks away, and you're just like, oh, I thought that was really rad. That's how that was. Let me see if I can find it. Playlists. Okay. No, that's definitely not what I was looking for. Okay, beasts. Oh, wait, maybe I can't find it. Oh man, that's gonna bug me. There's no way I would have deleted it. Oh well, I guess I can't find it. Gray hair, great phrase, okay. Nope. Oh well. I'll figure it out later and I'll share it. That's okay. We'll figure it out. Let's see, we got that done. Let's throw a little bit more. Bugman Glow. Okay, sorry, I fell behind. Doug, what's Conquest, and is it similar to the Warhammer setting, like grim aspects of it? No, it's definitely decidedly less grimdark. Conquest is a game published by the company Parabellum out of Greece. It is a mass battles game, meaning it's rank and flank, large armies. I think right now there's 5 factions, I believe. And it details the story of humanity struggling to survive against all kinds of horrific things on the planet where it takes place. For me personally, I thoroughly enjoy it because it's kind of what, when I got into fantasy battles and they announced that they were going to change it, it is honestly what I wanted. Mediocre. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Malal. I appreciate it. It's basically what I wish they had turned fantasy battles into, which is a much more streamlined and simplified rank and flank game. Heroes and hero creation is a huge part of it. It's exceptionally easy to pick up. Some of them, like most of the models, are very well costed in terms of real world dollars to points. There's a few outliers because I think in their early bits of development they went with some different types of model creators and some are more expensive. So you will notice that some of them are like, why is this so expensive? And then everything else in the faction is like 80% cheaper. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. But they're a new company. They're establishing themselves. They didn't crowdfund anything. They did it all internally in house. Yeah, I mean that's basically the sales pitch. Is just it is a very streamlined rank and flank game. When I say streamlined, I mean like movement is very, very simple and intuitive. There's no real gotchas, so to speak. Yeah. The coolest thing to me that I like about it is essentially for every unit in the game, you get a card. Now, the card doesn't actually matter. There's nothing on the card that matters. It's not significant. It just has a picture of the unit that it comes with to depict them, so you know that's who it's for. But what's interesting is at the start of every game round, you and your opponent have to put these cards in a specific order. That order is the order that they activate in the subsequent round. So, even though when you activate a unit, you can do whatever you want with it, you are determining the order in which they activate at the top of the turn. So there is a little bit of skill and talent in knowing, when do I need these units to order? Do I need to have heroes activate first to put the buffs on the units? Do I need to have the unit activate first to fight and hopefully get the hero out of danger? That kind of stuff. So there's some cool tactical depth because of that mechanic that I thoroughly love. There's also a card game version of 40K called Conquest. Oh, yeah, I suppose that's maybe what I was thinking of. Maybe I was confused. The quality of the sculpts has improved astronomically. Yeah, so if you want to see what it looks like, you know that movie Evolution from forever ago? With David Duchovny and I can't remember the other actor's name. There's like 3 headline actors. But basically the whole premise is that asteroid arrives and life evolves kind of like it did here, but like a supersonic speed. It's basically Parabellum evolving next to Games Workshop, because I think they launched like 3 years ago. And, their initial models, they're good. They're not great, I mean, they're pretty honest about that too. But the amount of leaps in technology and sculpting and art and all these kinds of things, it's just been incredible. Just incredible. I forgot about the 40K Conquest game. That's so funny. Okay, cool. Bunch of questions just came in, which is good because this stuff needs to dry. Let's answer some questions here. All right, let's do it. I'm just to give you something else to look at, so it's not just a blank screen of drying, literally watching paint dry. George, Doug, what's your favorite faction in AOS and why? I got into AOS after Fantasy Battles died to your channel. Well, thank you so much. Favorite faction, whatever I'm playing in that particular 3 months, because I swap factions so often. As far as like consistently interesting things, let's see. Well, it used to be Slaves to Darkness because they filled out most of what Chaos is and were able to be kind of anything, but that's changed now with the next edition because now there's a lot more rules on who can take Slaves to Darkness models and how many of them you can take. So that's kind of changed. That kind of dampened my spirits a little bit for the army. As far as like just overall favorites, I really do like the Cities of Sigmar. I really like Gloomspite Gitz. What else? Oddly enough, never actually owned a Gloomspite Gitz army. I've painted a bunch, but I've never owned a full faction to be able to play them. Yeah, that's about it. Let's see. I almost just fell asleep. Doug's dulcet tones are too much in the morning. Yes, I love it. Oh, man. What's the best god in AOS and why is it Nagash? I think Nagash is the best god in AOS. And when I say that, I mean, he's very honest about what he wants. It's very straightforward. He's very clear. The world's a mess and he just needs to rule it. And, with all the other ones, they have all these little side quests that are all like being turds about other things and subplots, and Sigmar takes Hish, engines and reverses them to make everyone forget things. He hides weapons away, and Teclis and Tyrion all have their own secrets, and Nagash is out here just being like super honest with everyone. It's like, listen, I'm not going to BS you. I need to rule the world. And it's just like, you get points for honesty, I guess. The conversation that he had with, is it Balthus from the book Soul Wars, is just like, I have no counter arguments to anything he said, where Balthus is like, Sigmar didn't ask you if you wanted to be a Stormcast. He just took you and then grafted his essence into you, so you don't have the right to argue. You literally can't. I'm doing the same thing, but I'm not lying about it. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. Let's see. Hugh, Doug, what about the setting of Conquest? No, it's not as horrific. It is sort of a crazy fantasy, though, where there are alien races in a fantasy game. They came to Ea is the planet name, and basically 2 of the factions at least are results of their experiments on the local wildlife. So the Nords were a failed experiment where they just tried genetic manipulation of humans, and then the Wadroon, the orcs of the setting, are a fully synthetic race that they created. And so there's this kind of cosmic horror, but it's not in tone as dark and hopeless as, the old world or 40k is. There's actually a lot more hope. So that's cool. I'm gluing a household knight and a crossbow right now. Nice. Nagash #1 dad mugs. Yeah, he also, like, Nagash doesn't forget his kids like Teclis does. I'm just saying. Let's not discuss good guy Sigmar. Exactly. By cities of Sigmar, I assume you mean Hark Huron. I mean all of it. I mean just the breadth of differences that different cities can have, I love. Question. So Lumineth Rumlords have set up a river aspect. How would you differentiate them from Deepkin? They ride catfish instead of deep water fish. That's all I got. I don't know. Nagash was beaten by a group of mice. Zinch is the way. Let's see. Are you looking forward to any of the new Battle Force boxes this Christmas? Honestly, not really. None of them stood out to me because there's 2 death ones, and deaths as factions don't really do it for me. I think of any of the death factions, Flesh Eater Courts, I mean, maybe Bone Reapers. I could see myself being a Bone Reaper player. The only scheme that I like is that red metallic one that was like a super OP sub faction for a while. I don't know what it is now, but yeah. That's about it. Yeah, none of them grabbed me. Did you ever play Silver Tower on stream? No, I didn't. There was a time where I was very excited to. And then when all this stuff with Curse City went down and no one was able to get a hold of it, it just knocked all of the wind out of my sails when it came to that. I still have it. It's all packed up and put away. It's just like, I don't know. It's one of those things that, because it is so engaging to have to like manage the stream and kind of coordinate the game and be the rules master for that kind of stuff, I need to have a spark of inspiration, and I just don't have it. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like, if you've ever played a D&D night where like your DM is just not into it and doesn't want to be there, I can't think of a worse thing, but it's kind of how I feel. So let's go back here to the downward. All right. Give me just a hot second here. Okay, there we go. We're back. And let's see. Sweet. So I'm going to take the skeletons. Again, if you get the reference of skeletons, drop it in the comment. You will win today's stream. We're going to dry brush a little bit of bone on them. And let's see. See you later, you. Have a good day. Okay, got this. Skeleton, yes. That is how it is pronounced. At least in the reference I'm making. Not going super hard on the Ashanti bone, just doing a little bit. Just the highest places. Specifically, FU Mark, if you are trying to figure out the reference that I'm making, you need to figure out where skeletons can be found. Reason I asked is I got my hands on a copy of Silver Tower yesterday. Very excited. Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, it's still, you know, a standalone game, and it's still awesome, and it still holds up with the models. I mean, obviously, they're fantastic models. Muy bien. Great. Those look awesome. Looking pretty good. Yeah, I like the way these guys turned out. I think they turned out pretty great. This guy's shoulder thing at one point somehow. Lead Belcher. Love skeleton models. Take me back to kid watching old Jason and the Arcanauts. Yes, actually, I would say, yeah, these skeletons definitely do that. Oh yeah, I saw the updated rules. Yeah, they had some goofy, we'll say, interactions back in the day with Silver Tower because they just weren't thinking about some of the interactions they had created, which is fine. It happens. Often Ray Harryhausen. Yeah, yeah. So if you don't know, he's the guy who did the stop animation, right? That was him. Yeah. It wasn't the skeleton reference, but it was the Jason the Arcanauts for sure. Let's see. What are we gonna do for the dirt on those guys underneath them? Where are you? Sterling Battlemeyer. We'll do that. Doug, were you into stop motion films when you were a kid? Like what movies? I mean, not specifically. Gosh, what did I watch when I was a kid? I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch a lot of stuff as a kid. What did we watch? Nah, mostly animated stuff. Probably stuff I shouldn't have watched, like Jurassic Park when I was way too young. What would be a potential recipe for plague bearers? You know, there's a lot of different kinds of plague bearer looks, though, so it's kind of hard to say because, you know, I mean, you could go as simple as the plague bearer contrast, which I actually like quite a bit. It's a very dull, pale green. On the other end, you could do something like more of a faded green. I don't know. It kind of depends. There's a lot of different. It's kind of like orc skin in the sense of there's just a lot of different ways it can go. So do you like them green or like it depends on, you know, preferences, of course. What do you think is worse, Demonic Infernals or Eldritch Void Spawn? What context? Like, are you talking about like for a date or just in general? You know, I mean, like, what are you waking up next to? I mean, like Jason and the Argonauts, Sinbad, the Eye of the Tiger films. I watched Clash of the Titans in English class at one point. That was pretty fun. But no, those movies, it's before my time, and I didn't have anyone who appreciated film enough to show it to me when I was in school. I remember the little mechanical owl from Clash of the Titans. That was pretty cool. Oh, I guess. Okay, wait. One that I did watch when I was young that I thought was really cool. I guess I would put it in that same genre. It would be like Flash Gordon. Flash, savior of the universe. Shoot, I'm old. Sorry. I was trying to skate around it and be like, well, you know, I don't know. I watched some of these other things, and then it's just like, man, I was just before my time. I don't know. Sorry. Random. Brother-in-law is doing a Seraphon theme using CAD. He's mapping real constellations and stars onto his models, so his Starborn will literally be star-formed. That is cool. That is a level of hobby that I do not comprehend, but I love it. Also, here's a question that I guess I can't answer. So if a Seraphon army shows up with real-world constellations on them, what does that mean to them? Like would they perceive, like, would other races be like, what are these alien symbols? And it's just like, you know, Orion's belt and crap like that, like because of ours, like Cancer sign or something. But they don't understand it because they wouldn't recognize it as their own. Company my friend used to work for just started putting out Flash action figures. a little late to the party, but well, I guess you're never late to sell people on nostalgia, so good on them. That's when I first saw, oh my gosh, what's his name? The guy who did the voice of Gotrek. Wasn't he in that as well? Like, way back in the day? I don't know. I feel like people really freaked out when they announced who it was, and I can't remember his name because I'm a nerd. No way that film has a cult following. Brian Blessed. Is that his name? Brian Blessed? Yes! I thought of it the second I turned and saw the chat. Yep. Jake confirmed. Yes, it was him. Nice. The very, very loud Go trick. Yes. Like, one of my favorite things in all of Black Library creations was the audio version of Go Trek, and, you know, when they had Brian Blessed first do the sound, because they let him do an interview afterwards, and it is equally painfully clear that he has no idea what the hell Warhammer is about, but also is so endearing and fun to listen to that it doesn't really matter, right? So, like, you're listening to him and he's like, oh yes, Gotrek is a character who's quite old, he's out of time, and it reminds me of all these ancient legends of, and he just starts rattling off like Noah and the flood and all these just like great grand biblical events throughout history, and you're just like, I understand that you're just like fluffing your speech out to like pad time. None of this has a dang thing to do with Gotrek and Felix. It was just really fun to listen to. That is all. I found that to be quite nice. Oh, was he Gimli? I have no idea. Man, I'm sure there's so many people who are freaking out right now, so upset. What do you mean you didn't know he was Gimli? He wasn't Gimli. Okay. I didn't think he was. The other guy, because I thought he had a very distinctive face. Let's see. Gotrek backstory, dwarf too angry to die. Pretty much. It was really fun to watch him like try and wriggle around though. His lack of knowledge. Which, I mean, you know, I'm not grading him or anything like that. Like, I also don't know much about Gotrek, but I also know it has nothing to do with the grand stories of the Bible. It's kind of like when you have an argument, now that the holidays are coming up with Thanksgiving here in the States, of like, when you have a family member who just starts saying things and you're like, I don't think that means what you think it means, man. And you're like, no, I don't think that's right. But your mom's like, don't say anything. We're so lucky to have Uncle Jim here this Thanksgiving. Don't start a fight. Don't do anything. You're just like, but there's a lot of things wrong with that. Speaking of which, anyone have any grand plans for their Thanksgiving? For me, probably just hanging out with the in-laws, as per usual. The actually is strong with this one. Is that Godray? Yes, it is. Yes, it most certainly is. Let me grab. The actually is strong with all of Lord of the Rings fandom. Like, you know, my buddy Jeremy locally, and he got distracted by AOS when that came out, but he did want to start playing the Lord of the Rings game, and I actually did a video talking about like, oh, I had an absolute blast with that. I'd love to start playing it because it sounds. Honestly, it seems like a very much a rule system that's up my alley, in terms of I like the way that the combat works and the size of the factions and that kind of stuff. So, Lord of the Rings game definitely has my interest, and I already have some stuff for it, so it's like, why not? But he got distracted by AOS stuff. So I was like, okay, so there was a period of time where I was like very actively looking at Lord of the Rings lore and being like, I want to understand how these different units go. I don't want to power game when the rest of us are playing like a thematic type thing. Yeah, and the amount of high pants, thoroughly adjusted glasses, and nerddom on those forums is like, oh my god. Makes you want to go back to Age of Sigmar and hear people complain about how there's no lore. Actually, that document was released in the Silmarillion 2nd edition, and so it's not technically canon. It's like, what's Thanksgiving? Yes, here in the Great British Isles, we have not yet discovered things to be thankful for. So, what you guys got going on over there? Doug is Prince Vultan. Wait, why am I Prince Vultan? Wait, what? Have you guys ever seen the movie The Interview with oh man, what's their names? I'm terrible at names for actors. I always have been. What are their names? Seth Rogen and James Franco. It's the best because there is in the movie, James Franco is obsessed with Lord of the Rings, which he is also in real life. And he makes the joke to his friend where he's like, "You're going to come with me on this journey? You're like my Boromir." And he's like, starts building this friendship, or a fake friendship based on like, "Oh, you're like Boromir to me." And such a meaningful, deep relationship. And then like halfway through the movie, when the two friends have conflict, he's like, "I thought you were Boromir. No, I thought you were my Samwise Gamgee, but you're not. You're Boromir." And his friend's like, "I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. What a Boromir thing to say." Oh man, it's such a good film. Doug, say dive like in Flash Gordon when the Hawkmen attack. It's been how old am I? 32. I think I'm 32. I'm going to go ahead and say it's been 20 years since I've seen that movie. I don't actually know how he says dive. I just remember seeing him in the giant Hawkman outfit being like, "That's baller. That's an international sex symbol right there. Brian Blessed with hawk wings." Spezia feast plans, honey baked ham. Ooh, potatoes, scalloped corn, homemade stock stuffing, and cauliflower cheese. Dang, that is a heck of a feast. We're all going to Spezia's house. Don't care where you are in the world, make it. Havoc. Throw a little bit more of the wash into some of the gear recesses here. I think somewhere I have a thing of gloss null oil. I should use that instead. I just want to have the tones be just a slight hair different. One does not simply talk like Boromir. Alright, so we got that washing, that drying. Let's throw some color down for the hair. I believe my boy here is a brunette. Hey Doug, can you ask inside guys at GW to go ahead and ship out my order ASAP? I don't know a single person who works at Games Workshop. I say no in strong quotes because, I get automated emails, but I don't know anybody. Sorry, buddy. What'd you order? Was it the new scented candle? Heard those are so hot this year. Give me just 1 second. These details just kind of filling in his beard. Doing a terrible job at it, by the way. Let's see if I can get you a close up. That helps, but not a ton. This specific camera is not the most helpful when it comes to the autofocus. But essentially, it is a steampunk warrior dude. You can't see the details on it, but unfortunately, but yeah, there's like gear and clockwork mechanisms inside the armor. Haven't gotten to washing all of it yet. But yeah. So bases. Seriously, I haven't painted a GW model since 2005, I think. Humble brag. He's been using the same army since then. I need to get better at painting more models, man. I have my huge Stormcast army. Well, it's turning into a huge one. It's a grow in progress type thing. I think I maybe have 3,000 points. I mean, I know I have 2, but I don't know if I have 3. Take away some of the excess. Perfect. Ooh. Let's see. Vincey, how many dragons are you getting? Are you asking me? You know, I'll be honest with you. I don't care for the named character, the big dragon. It's just not my jam. Like, huge centerpiece models rarely interest me. So for that guy, none. That just is not my jam. However, the Dragon Rider guys, I actually do like quite a bit. They honestly just seem like a more useful version of Puscoil Blightlords. So, you know, that's kind of cool. They were my jam when I was doing Maggotkin. But yeah. So that's probably where things will lead. But yeah, as far as how many, I don't know. I know they just updated the points today. He's absurdly big, and I'm not here for it. I agree. My thing is, I don't particularly like using character models in general because I like to have my own stories. And I'm actually having trouble writing a lore video for them because I think more so than any of the Stormcast heroes, they really just feel like stapled on without really any context. You know what I mean? Like, Kragnos makes sense for the destruction factions because he is this force of destruction. He's always been in Gur. He's just been in prison, unleashed, and they all love fighting, and he's a big fighting guy, so they follow him. Makes perfect sense. With the dragon guys, I'm looking at this, and it's like, one of them was always here, the one who's all scarred up and beat to hell. And then the other guy, Krondis, I believe it's pronounced, like went away for a while and came back. Okay. Why? Like, why any of this? Why has this guy been here the whole time and we haven't seen him? Why did the other guy go away? And he just kind of shows up and he's like, I'm here now, suckles. And, yeah, I don't know. It just didn't grip me, you know? It's kind of like, you know, when the last Stormcast Battle Tome came out and they had a whole bunch of heroes like Astria Soulbright and the mayor of Hammerhall, whatever his name is. Like, characters that didn't exist in any story, they just kind of like wanted to have a character. It's like that, but there's less lore tying them into the army that they are a part of. So like, yeah, Astria Soulbright, there's no books about her or anything like that. She just kind of magically appeared, you know, like you're at a stoplight and this cool, awesome goth girl rolls up next to you on a Dracoline and you're like, cool, you know, whatever. I don't know why you're here, but let's road race time. That's awesome. But, you know, with the dragon stuff, it's like, we're here. And then my only thought is like, yeah, but why? Because plot reasons. Exactly. Yes. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, Vince, you nailed it. Yeah, just converting models. Like, yeah, and I have no problem with anyone who wants to do that. Like, use name model rules. I totally get it. It makes absolute sense. But it's just like, I don't know. It didn't grip me. Let me grab a skin color here. So, I understand the Dragon Riders, like the Knight version. Like, I liked that. Yeah, all the other stuff, I'm like, I'm just not here for it. Like, honestly, if they had just come out with the Chariot and those Dragon Riders and all that kind of stuff, honestly, it probably would have been enough. But at this point, they're basically like, Extremist Chamber, Round 2, Electric Boogaloo, right? Where it's just, why are these guys riding dragons? Because we wanted to sell dragons. You're like, oh, okay. Because market research determined that you guys would get way too obsessed about dragons. Like, well, you got me there. Wish the dragons were more like mercenaries, like Mega Gargants. That would have been cool. I mean, let's see. R. Hey, Doug. First time I've been painting when one of your streams comes up. I'm sitting in my Warhammer store right now. Oh, hey! What Warhammer store are you located at? Tell the manager there he's probably doing a good job if people are hanging out and just chilling. I was trying to think of something clever and funny to say to the Warhammer, store manager, but I can't. I mean, like, if it was a friend of mine that, like, owned it, I'd be like, hey, go find the manager. Tell him he sucks. You know what I mean? Like, because that's how my family does humor, but that doesn't really translate if it's just some guy. Imagine you sitting at a Warhammer store painting, and all of a sudden one of your, regulars at the store just leans up and goes, this guy on the internet says you suck. Like, oh, wow. That's awesome. Oregon, that's cool. That's cool. I heard nothing but great things about the scene in Oregon. You gotta be raised on the East Coast to have appreciation for insult humor like that. This guy says you suck. Well, tell him he sucks. He said F you. Yeah, well, F him. And that's basically just back and forth. You can see two people from New Jersey just yelling like that, back and forth. F you, nah, F you, nah, F you. Oh, man. Home. So many memories. Be like I end up being like the Millhouse from The Simpsons. This is where I come to cry. Oh, cool. From someone from that area. Valid. Yes. Yes. I'm here. What did you want? What? Oh, let's see. Reminds me of the first time my wife met the family. She thought everyone was mad at each other and yelling. Had to console her that we were just, in fact, Italian. Yeah. Your mother's judging me on all these things that... No. Yeah, lots of Italian folks. So I lived in New Jersey, different sides of it, until I was about 14. Then we moved to Texas. So that we're going to call that a cultural, I don't know, shift, whiplash. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Whiplash. Fun times. I'm painting a squig for contrast only squig painting competition. I've been training for this moment in my whole horror camera career. I love it. This is my moment. We're going to take our purple. Yes, I'm from the Boston area. We all yell at each other. Oh, man. I remember one of my favorite moments when I was a kid. My mother was driving the car, and she admittedly made a goofy left turn and accidentally cut someone off. It was this very weird, like three-way intersection in New Jersey. So it was, an honest mistake. I accidentally cut this guy off. The guy gets up out of his car and like looks at her. Is like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" Like just to yell at her. And my mother goes, "Hey, I'm sorry," and just like, but says "I'm sorry" in the most aggressive way ever. And the guy just goes, "It's okay," and then gets in his car and drives away. But it just played out like this perfect, like, "Man, what the hell are you doing? Sorry." Oh, it's okay. This is like immediately de-escalated, and we're just like, what? The howdy neighbor type of people make me uncomfortable. We only communicate by throwing shade in these parts. I mean, Iowa is nice. I mean, it's a whole joke here about Iowa being like everyone's so nice. But honestly, nice just means passive aggressive. What'd you learn on 2+ Tough today? All humans are evil and that no one is actually nice. Cool. Unsubscribe. I like to think if anybody had to teach you all that lesson, I could probably do it better, at least in a more wholesome way. Okay, wait, here we go. Question. So, Doug, since you're from Jersey, 2 questions. Is it a pork roll or a Taylor ham? And does Central Jersey exist? 1. It is a pork roll. That is what it is. And it is the greatest food ever created by mankind. And I don't know why we kept making foods after it. My wife hates it, which is part of why I love it, to be perfectly honest with you. And when I got it for her, I was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get pork rolls." And she's like, "Oh man, what is that?" And then I handed her one. And she's like, "Oh, it's just a roll with pork on it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, no one ever accused New Jerseyans of being too clever with their names. Like, that's not a stigma. That's not a stereotype of the American Jersey boy. And the second one is does Central Jersey exist? I say no. Central Jersey was a scam to sell real estate. Is that not what we were supposed to learn over the last 2 years? Oh, that hurts the feels. It's so true. Is that everybody is the worst? Yeah, I don't know what you guys have been learning, but I've been learning about how little I can trust mankind. Wait, you're from Jersey too? Just joined? Yeah, my dude. I was raised in... we moved around quite a bit because we were always looking for like low-income housing. But I think Belmar, the town on the coast, was the last place I lived in Jersey before we moved. And then spent a lot of time in Brick. Brick being the town. I'm assuming they just couldn't think of anything more clever. What should we name our crappy town? He looks around, just sees a pile of bricks. They will know us by the crap we leave on our, driveways. I'm not a hermit, you're a hermit. Oh my gosh, yes. I certainly have become. I mean, like, people are like, you got so sick from Holy Havoc. Was it like, were they really bad about masks? I was like, no, everyone was fantastic about masks. Everyone was awesome about distance. The tables were all stuff. It's like, I have not been around a human being in 2 years. So like, all of a sudden being around 100 people from different parts of the US, it's, far north in Minnesota, Illinois, there are a couple from Iowa, but for the most part, yeah, not people I normally interact with, which means they have their own set of, household diseases and stuff like that they were bringing. Like, nah, dude, I'm just a mole rat. Gotta go. Need to clean my room and hide my pile of shame before my brother and his wife visit. Please, can we transport some of those awesome people to my block? They were, yeah, it was pretty cool. Illinois as a state had some requirements, which is pretty good to see, honestly, because Iowa doesn't. Iowa's very, like, it's funny hearing Jack talk about the Seattle area versus here. So, like, there are places in Seattle where you have to, like, prove your vaccination to get into things and that kind of stuff, where it's just it's a lot of paperwork regarding everything. And I was like, oh, no, man, you're in the Midwest now. Like, someone asks you to cover your mouth when you sneeze and you got, like, 5 people, don't tread on me! You're like, oh, God, dang. It's not quite that bad, but you know what I mean. There's lots of opinions. You should go do a con and we'll all go. Yeah, just have the 2+ con. What would the perfect Doug convention be? That would be a whole bunch of stuff that I couldn't possibly ever afford to buy in the vendor hall. There would be an exceptional choice of food trucks for sure, because if MyCon's going to get anything right, it's definitely going to be the meal options. What else? Every event is narrative. There's no trophies for winning the most games. there is only like narrative storytelling, that kind of stuff, like for awards. Oh, all masked and retaining respectable distances. Yeah, I mean, part of it was, you know, the guy Steve Herner, who ran the event, did a terrific job of, you know, all the tables were just very well spaced out, which not only did I appreciate as someone in the age of COVID, just as, I mean, I'm a larger guy, 6'3", overweight, working on the weight part, can't work on the height part. You know, I got these long dancer's legs. I got these weird oversized arms that are much more of a wingspan than they are normal arm length. You know, I'm an awkward guy, so having extra space was really, really nice. I look like a bat without its wings, just like the huge lanky arms. That's me. Oh, big sneak peek. Doug finally got a bunch of other VTubers together to start streaming and shoutcasting weekly TTS games on my channel. Oh, cool. Yeah. To start streaming and so, Vince, just make sure I understand. So streaming like AOS games and then like having commentary on them? Just make sure I understand. Looks at the medieval stretch rack. You sure you can't work on that height thing? I mean, man. Well, I was going to say work on the height thing as far as like getting shorter, which would be very helpful for me. But, you know, there's a way to get shorter. It just involves chopping off my feet. I'm not into that. I'll probably end my life like the granddad from King of the Hill, where he like lost his like lower legs in the war and is just kind of like moving around on his thighs with boots underneath, and this is looking all gnarled. It's gonna be me. Question: do U.S. beds accommodate being tall? Yeah. We have a queen size bed. We have a king size in the bedroom. Yep. Yeah, anything above a queen sized bed and above will definitely accommodate being tall. Doorways, on the other hand, are much more of a mixed bag, because I've been to the UK and I have just enough brain damage to prove it with all the doors I rammed into on the way. Many a profane word was dropped on that trip. Question: does/can Doug cook? Yeah. I used to really enjoy cooking. I haven't so much lately. I haven't really gone around to try things, but yeah, my favorite things to cook. Ooh. I really like stroganoff. I like me and Jess make a homemade pizza that's really good. Like homemade, like with the dough and everything. Yeah. Yeah, all our door heights are that height, building regulations and all that. Yeah, yep, that'll do it. Whew. How long have we been at it? We'll make sure to pad them when you come. Oh, I love it. Yes, I definitely just like walked around just ramming my head into things, and like there was exactly one moment where I hit my head and I went, son of a bitch, and I just got real mad, and then I was like, I'm done with this, I want to go back to the hotel, and I turned around and immediately rammed my head in the doorway that I had just passed through after I had rammed my door and my forehead into something else. It was just a lot of it was like a bad comedy film, but like in real life, it was good. Good times. I need to pick out some stuff for her. I found a channel called Sorted. It's been awesome to try stuff in that era of the plague. Interesting. I might check that out. Yeah, I like cooking. It's a good little thing to get into. You know, Jess and I have started doing a lot of those like meal services where they send you like, you know, Blue Apron does it. It's like send you all the ingredients pre-portioned and everything like that, so you can just hop in and start cooking. And I really enjoyed it. Actually, it's been really cool. My biggest thing is just, I don't want to spend all this time on a recipe if I end up hating it. You know what I mean? And that's just no way. You just got to cook bravely and be like, I know what I like, and they should have an army that's just swarms of spites and other creatures. All hate other factions. All right, friends, I think I'm going to go ahead and hop off here. But I thoroughly enjoyed this. I needed this. I needed just to hang out with people again. I missed y'all. I hated not having a voice and wanting to talk about all the cool stuff that I got into at Holy Havoc with all the AOS games and seeing some crazy awesome models. So I'm excited that I am back in biz, and I cannot wait to share that with you this coming week. I might have another live stream this weekend, but it would just be like this, another hobby hang just to paint stuff quicker. So anyway, thank you all so much for hanging out. I had a wonderful time chatting with all of you, and I really do hope to see you all very, very soon this coming week. We're talking Orc War Clans and Holy Havoc and painting schemes and all these kinds of cool things. So Zosius, thank you. Tell Jacob he's a rock star, and you are as well. You all have yourselves a wonderful time over there, and I will catch you next time. Happy wargaming.